Welcome to Straight Out of Savannah, Talking with Tammi, a podcast that showcases people you may not know who are choosing to use their gifts to inspire and move the planet.
Thank you so much for joining us on Straight Out of Savannah. My guest is Grace Willow, and I'm super excited that she is joining us, and she's going to share her magic. Grace, take it away.
Hello, Tammi. I'm so glad to be here. Gosh, my magic. I have such a big toolbox. I don't even know where to start. So maybe I'll just kind of like throw around some titles and kind of a little bit about what I do. I'm a women's pelvic health specialist, and I also offer women's holistic pelvic care, which is part of the holistic pelvic specialty work, sexuality and embodiment coaching, and somatic trauma resolution. So I'm like flipping through the Rolodex in my mind. I'm like, what else is there? There's shamanic healing. There's shadow work. Yeah. A big toolbox.
So a holistic healer is what I'm hearing.
Holistic healer, yes. Yeah. I would even say, there was a point in my life when I thought of myself as a soul doctor or a soul midwife. Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah. Big shoes to step into.
I was going to say, how did you get there? I mean, what brought you to that place where you said, this is who I need to help? Generally, typically, we go through stuff ourselves and then we, overcome, and then we say, okay, I'm going to reach back and I want to help other people. Yeah. So how was that journey for you?
Yeah, it really started, I would say, when I was a child. I was extremely psychic, and the people around me, adults, muggles, that was not acceptable in the muggle world. So I shut that down real quick, and it stayed shut down until I was 29. I was in a car accident, and I had a near-death experience after being broadsided at 60 miles an hour. And my healing journey was, the look on your face.
Blessed to be alive.
Well, I had a near-death experience after 18 months of Western treatment. I had a head injury. I mean, I had so many diagnoses. It was ridiculous. I was at the doctor at least 5 times a week, different doctor's appointments for a year and a half. And at that point, I was still in the muggle world. I hadn't yet remembered who I was. And after 18 months, I was told, basically, you're just going to have to live like this. And I went, oh my God, that's not an option. And what it did for me was it like kicked that into like, oh my God, I remember that some part of me can heal. Some part of me remembered that I could heal. Yes. And I just followed that breadcrumb, and I started taking training in intuitive healing, and I started realizing, like, oh my God, I'm not really learning anything new. This is like stuff I'm unlocking that's always been there. Like, so I went through a whole lot of training until I went like, I'm kind of done with my training period. What's next? And I started realizing, like, if other people have the same experience that I had when I was going through my healing journey, oh my God, I have so many people to help. Like, this is ridiculous, because as much as I have so much respect for the medical profession, because they're doing what they know, but they're not looking at people from a holistic perspective, which is like mind, body, soul, soul lessons, soul contracts, and looking at the body as an intelligent organism that is conscious.
Yes.
So that's really how I came to this journey of doing what I do now, is working with people over a broad period of time. I now have 22 years of professional experience, and my work has really evolved over that time. At first I was very much a closet healer. I didn't tell anybody what I did. It was only a massage therapist. And then I started getting more confidence and putting my shingle out as a healer, and combining that with coaching to still be like sanctioned. I still wasn't sanctioned. Yes. And then every iteration of my profession has always been under the umbrella of a sanctioned license or a credential. But I found that the people who find me really, they find me, I don't know how they find me. They're not finding me through the channels of what I would call sanctioned work. So yeah, it's really kind of how I found myself doing what I do now, is this working with all these clients over these years and letting life sort of mold me into the work that I do now. Because if you'd asked me 5 months ago, 6 months ago, to do, what am I doing? Sorry, I'm getting tongue tied. If you'd asked me 6 months ago if I thought I would be doing this version of work that I'm doing right now, I would have said, women's sexuality? No, not me. But everything, it's like a cauldron that just keeps cooking, and the recipe keeps changing, and I just keep saying yes to life. And so here I am.
Oh, wow. That is powerful. That is so powerful, because so many times we don't say yes to life, and many times we don't even know that we don't.
We don't. Oh God, no, I'm just laughing at myself. Years ago, what I was I'm like a battering ram. Like you just said, we don't always say yes. And so I was fighting. I was like, no, I want to go this way. I want to do this. And I was really pushing, and there was no doors opening. And finally I just went, okay, all right, I'll do it your way. And it, at the time it kind of felt like a surrender, but not a surrender like I give up. It was more like a surrender to open to what life was wanting me to contribute.
Yes.
That I would have run scared. Oh my God, Tammi, I would have run scared. Like if you had told me what I was doing, I'd be like, no, I'm not doing that. So yeah, just keep saying yes and keep trusting. And when I do that, it's like, it's just easy.
That is awesome, because the thing is just like we were saying, sometimes you just have to get to that place where you say yes, and you say it when you're scared, right?
Oh my God, so scared. I had to put my big girl panties on and be like, oh, okay, I'll do it. I don't think I'm ready. Who do I think I am? But I'll do it.
Sounds like when I had my first baby. I said the same thing. I said, oh, I don't think I can do this. I remember I was at the hospital.
Yeah.
And the nurse said, yeah, you got to do it.
Yeah, there's no option, really. I mean, there is, but
it was so funny, because it's like, ooh, I was like, wow, I can do this, I can do that. And it seems like this is the same thing that many women go through.
Yeah.
And so when you look at a woman, and okay, so when somebody comes to you, and they say, oh, I need what you have, how do you approach that in the beginning? What is the first thing that, you would share with them or ask them,
That's a good question. I want what you have. I don't know that I've ever actually had somebody say that. So I'm like,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, I'm like, well, the first thing that comes to mind is that we always want what looks really good, and then we realize that there's work involved.
Yes.
And so for me, I have had friends and former partners over the years who say, well, yeah, but that's because, where you're at. And I'm like, yeah, but life kicked me in the ass a few times, and I had to do the work to get to where I'm at, and it's daily work. It's not easy doing life consciously. It's much easier to go to sleep and say, I'll deal with that tomorrow. I'm not going to put in the work. So when people come to me, they're typically women who've done a significant amount of personal work, and they understand the input required to live a conscious life and to heal from whatever it is that they've got going on. And really the work I do is very desire based. So instead of looking at what's wrong, we look at what do you want and why?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Do you want that? You want to have a baby? Maybe she's struggling with infertility, or maybe she's struggling with pelvic pain. I'll stick with pelvic pain because that's pretty common with the women I work with. Rather than let's address the pelvic pain, we look at what would you have if you didn't have that, and why do you want it? And how much are you willing to invest in yourself to get that? Are you willing to change your diet if that's what's needed? Are you willing to do some self-care if that's what's needed? Are you willing to set boundaries? Are you willing to embody yourself as a sexual being and clear out the closet of sexual shame? Are you, willing to kick some of the chemicals out of your household that might be causing neuroendocrine problems? So that when I say it's work, it's really customized for everybody that I work with. But there's, I partner with women, and, I walk with them every step of the way. But it's really a matter of investing, supporting them and investing in themselves.
Yes.
On a whole bigger level than they've ever been encouraged to step into.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's powerful. So now, did you go through something with the pelvic area that caused you to say that I want to help other women to deal with that?
Yeah. Oh gosh, my life has been so colorful. So in addition to the car accident that set me on this whole trajectory, I also had breast implant illness.
Oh,
Lucky
wow.
me. Oh yes, that was fun. I had pelvic pain for 6 years.
Wow.
I was going to doctors, I was getting ultrasounds, I was doing acupuncture, I had energy healing. I mean, like, you name it, I did it. I was doing cleanses, I was fasting, meditating, exercising, you name it. And every time I, would go to somebody, they'd say, well, we can't find anything wrong with you. And yeah. Are you raising your hand? Like,
yeah.
Been there.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going through that now.
Oh, yeah. I so feel for you. I so feel for you. So when I moved from Santa Fe to Portland, Oregon, where I live now, I was like, all right, I've had it. I can't deal with this anymore. There's got to be something. And I got online, which I've done many, many times before, searching pelvic pain, Googling pelvic pain. How do I heal pelvic pain? And I found a blog article, and then I found a woman who I eventually took some training with. I won't mention her name because she's very controversial in the coaching world. Yeah, I know everybody's curious now, like, who is this?
I was getting ready to say, you already know. Now everybody's gonna be reaching out to you. Who is she?
Yeah. Well, she's really knowledgeable, but she's quite controversial. And anyway, then I found a woman here in Portland who trains women worldwide in holistic pelvic care, and I went, oh, what? So I signed up for her workshop, and then to become trained and certified, because I was like, yes. And then I also scheduled a couple of sessions with her, and pelvic pain gone. So, of course, now that I do that work and I weave it into all of the other work that I do with, the sexuality and embodiment coaching and the energy healing, I mean, yes. So to answer your question, I did have that happen, and it's just been a wild ride. Like, I feel like everything I've gone through has been curriculum for me to step into a bigger level of work.
Yes.
So,
yes.
yeah.
Yes. The question that came to mind as you were talking, the pelvic issues. Mm-hmm. So now, when you look at the pelvic pain, are you seeing that there is something energetic that's happening with that, that maybe we're not aware of, or what are you seeing as far as what's really going on with the pelvic? Because just like you said, Western medicine just, they look at the symptoms, and they look at their CT scans and the ultrasounds and all the things and the blood work and whatnot. And I actually have been going through that as well. They can find nothing.
My heart goes out to you. Yeah. So it's really different for everyone, because, some women are struggling with vulvodynia, some are struggling with vaginismus, some are struggling with low back pain, some, ovarian pain, uterine pain. It really just depends on the particular woman. But yes, on an energetic level, there's always emotional work. If you think about it from a holistic energetic perspective, the pelvic bowl in women is it houses the first and second chakras, which are related to the consciousness of the fear in the world. So anytime there's a big fear event, guess what happens in women's pelvises?
Yes.
We hold it on an energetic level.
Yes.
We also are holding the ancestral imprints of our ancestors, both sides, for, a number of generations. I've worked with women who, they can trace back 2 or 3 generations. In the embodiment work, I guide them to go into their bodies and where is it? How many generations back? And sometimes it's like 50 generations. Ooh, because the trauma gets passed down through the DNA.
Yes.
And there's a whole body of research around this called epigenetic. My mind just went blank. Epigenetic trauma, and so we're looking at ancestral / epigenetic trauma. We're looking at personal trauma that the person has either forgotten about or repressed or denied or ignored, or had denied or ignored by someone in their family. Like, oh, that's not a big deal, just ignore it. Mm-hmm. We're also looking at, the imprint that patriarchy has on women. This has been huge. Yes. And, I know not everybody listening to this identifies with the word women, but, just for generic purposes, if that's okay with everyone, I'm just going to be using the word women. Yes. But we're also looking at past life imprints. Mm-hmm. When women there's been some horrific stuff that's come up in sessions where I'm like, we're just going to stay neutral. We're clearing this out of the system. And when we do the clearing work, it's like, it impacts, how do I explain this? I'm sure everybody listening to this probably has some, exposure to energy healing, but if not, when we're looking at the spiritual aspect or the emotional or mental body, or even causal body, we're clearing information out of those bodies. The physical is the most dense, so it takes the longest to heal. But I've had women, within a matter of a couple weeks, it's just, they're like, oh my God, I'm living a whole different life. Yeah. Some other women, it's different. So sometimes it's lifestyle factors. Sometimes it's emotional work, energetic work. It's really different for every person that I work with. And so I do a pretty in-depth intake. And then I schedule longer sessions with everyone because I want to give them plenty of time to go into the work and then come out of it and be intact and be able to function in their everyday lives without feeling like, oh my God, I can't function now.
Yeah. I can see how that could happen for sure. Yeah. In this work, because it's such a deep work that you're doing and it's so needed. And I am so grateful to be able to bring you on and showcase it for you.
Me too. Thank you. I'm how interesting, because you and I didn't even talk about this in advance about how you're struggling with this as well. So
exactly. And I didn't even know that, this was the deeper work that you did. I looked at that, but I was like, okay. And so as you're sharing, it's like, wow, that is so interesting because for me, it started about a month or so ago. And I still kind of do think that it was a reaction to my job. Because on a level, I really didn't like it.
No.
It was like a slight anxiety that I would feel when I go. And there was a lot of different factors, I'm not throwing the job under the bus or anything, because it really wasn't a bad job. But I think it was just that I think that at this point in my life, I'm getting to a place where I just can't do anything. I just can't, like when I was younger, I worked a lot and all the time. Now that I'm older, I'm not willing to do it. I don't want to do it. And so it's like, I felt like at that time, energetically, that's what was going on with me, because it was like, I was having nausea and vomiting and diarrhea, but I was only having it when I went to the job. And then after that,
can't stomach it.
Right. And that's what I thought about it, I was like, that's what this is. So I got to get out of here. That was in my mind. I was like, okay, so I got to go, you know?
Yeah. I think our bodies are so incredibly wise, and the only way that they can speak to us is in pain. Or some sort of symptom. So I've been in a similar situation where when I would go to job interviews that I knew in advance the job was not right for me. I knew it, but there have been times where, I was a single mom for many years, or, life.
Yeah, you need to get those coins.
Yeah, you got to get the money in the bank account rather than doing the work that I finally said, yes, Spirit, I'll do this work. Thank you. Now I don't get that anymore, but when the morning of the job interview, I would have diarrhea so badly that I could not go to the job interview. And I would be like, oh God, really? Again? Here we are again. And when I finally said, I'll do this work. So I think that you're spot on with, having it be related to the job. And, I think that's something that has to be said about patriarchy is we have been conditioned to do things that are not in alignment with us.
Yes.
And so when women come into alignment with themselves and they are willing to be who they really are, their health improves, their finances improve, their relationships improve. They become, like these radiant goddess women. And like, they're just like, I'm in charge of my life. I'm sovereign.
Yes.
It's amazing. I love getting to do this work.
It's one of those things. And I laugh about that too, because I feel the same way about even this work that we're doing right now. I love it so much and I'm so passionate about it. So it's like, I could probably, I used to interview sometimes like 4 people in a day, but I had to stop that because it was just too much. But I liked it that much. I was like, oh man, I get to interview so many interesting people, and you'd be surprised the people that have like just found me on Google. And I've been like I found you because I was like, I want to talk to her.
Actually, I found you because I listened to Marie's and then it was, a couple months, and then, I sent you a anyway.
Marie Landis.
You found and then you found me.
Yes, that's right. It was so amazing because I loved talking to her. It was so awesome in it, just like you. Because we talked in the green room already for a few minutes, and it was such an amazing conversation. I didn't even want to stop it, but we had to.
She very interesting life. Yeah.
So it's awesome. But so are you doing like programs where you work with women, or do you do mostly one-to-ones, or how does that work for you?
I'll do programs. Right now, I just finished facilitating Pleasure as a Portal to Thriving workshop series.
Nice.
That was a lot of fun. It was amazing. But I find that I really thrive in the one-on-one work because the women don't always get that one-on-one, the more in-depth attention in a workshop or a group type of situation. So to do this really deep work, I really value the support that a one-on-one container offers. It's such profound work, and I hold it in such high regard. Like, I feel so blessed and so privileged to be able to do this work, and I consider it sacred. So, having that sacred one-on-one space where women can really just drop in and not worry about what, anyone else in the group is going to say or do, and not worry about being on camera with other people, and really just feel safe.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's one of those where you can hold them, and you can hold a space for them, and they feel comfortable. Because I think that with this work, a woman has to feel comfortable.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, I've had so many women tell me that this is the first time they felt like they can really just be themselves without any masks, without any, defense mechanisms, where they're really just given permission to drop in and be themselves fully.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh my God, that is so powerful. Because women need that so much.
Yes, because they give to everyone else all the, like, we're conditioned. Like, take care of your kids, take care of your partner, take care of your house, take care, your job, give to everyone else.
I was going to say, not only that, take care of your kids until they're 50, I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And yes, I know.
And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I just
Yeah.
know. Mm-mm.
Yeah. The women, I'm not saying that all women are like this, but I think
No.
a lot of women come in with the conditioning that to take care of themselves, there's this huge guilt and shame. Like,
Yeah.
I can't do that. Like, what would everybody think? No, I can't do that. So it's really valuable for me to offer a space where they can really just drop in and have someone hold them,
Yes.
where
Yes.
they can drop in and be as messy as they need to. They don't have to hold it all together. They can
Mhm.
just do the work.
And they don't gotta apologize for being who they are,
Oh, no.
because that is so. It's so I see it sometimes even in people's posting. Like I'll
Mhm.
see a post and somebody will respond to something, and I'll see that and I'm like, wow, they, oh goodness. I
Yeah.
always put my hand on my heart because I feel for them.
Hmm.
Because it's like, oh my God, yeah, you got to find some space, some way to drop down into your heart.
Yes.
And that's huge and so crucial. And the work that you do, I'm super excited about
Me
it.
too.
I believe that you are changing the planet because women need that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not just, like I have a lot of women that are gay,
Hmm.
and a lot of women, friends of mine that are like they've been married before, they got kids, and then they grew up and decide, felt like they always felt that way, but now they're
Hmm.
free to choose. And I think that's an amazing thing as well.
I
I think
agree.
that's amazing because
Yeah.
just the fact that you're free to choose, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Because for me, I'm not, but I just believe in people's choices.
Hmm.
That people should be able to have choices if that's what they desire.
Yeah. And, for them to have those choices now, they're setting, I think when women come into themselves, we're at like a precipice of creating a whole new history. Like
Yes.
women are coming into power, not power over men, but power in themselves and making
Yes.
I'm a sovereign woman. Like I said before, I'm sovereign and I can choose to be in a relationship or just have lovers. I can have lovers. I can be single. I can have a relationship with a woman. I can be married to a woman. I can be in a polyamorous relationship. And so I think we're at a time where women are no longer willing to subject themselves to patriarchy's little, you got to be a good wife and a good employee and a good mom, and the box is about this big and we can't breathe. So I fully support women in, exploring all of the amazing options they have
Yes.
available to them.
Yes, I think it's awesome. I think it's powerful. So,
Yeah.
do you have something that you would like to share? And also, I want you to share where people can find you so
Oh,
that,
yeah.
yeah. And then those
Yeah.
things will also be in the description as well. But she's
Hmm.
going to tell you right now, if she has something that she's, feeling, or, sessions you want to do, whatever it is that
Yeah.
help people.
Yeah. So anyone who's interested can find me on my website at gracejwillow.com. And I have not yet put it out. I took a week off at the end of December and I'm like molasses getting going again. So I actually have I am planning on having a menarche reclamation ritual on January 17th, which in alignment with the full moon.
Yes.
And that's for women who have never had their moon time or their menarche celebrated or honored or recognized. So it's a reclamation of the bleeding time for women, and
Nice.
it's for adult women, I should say. I'm not yet ready to work with younger girls, but perhaps in the future. Let's see what else. I offer one-on-one coaching, somatic coaching in a 6 month or a year of one-on-one container. And let's see, what else? I have something else coming up. Oh, it's a jade egg healing and pleasure immersion. Excuse me, one moment. I'm getting talking.
It's okay.
Mm,
I'm doing the same.
okay. Yeah. Okay. We have a jade egg healing and pleasure immersion coming up. That starts March 19th, and it's 6 sessions of dropping into epic radical self-love and pleasure and healing around the pelvic bowl using the jade egg. So that'll be just magic. That's also on my
Yes.
website. And that's,
Yes.
yeah, everything, basically everything anybody would ever want to know about me is on my website, events, coaching, all that stuff.
That is so nice. I'm so excited. Just sitting here having this conversation about, how you help women, because it's so powerful. And so many people are out here doing things, and I'm just so grateful that you're doing something that truly is needed in the world, and that's what I love, because people need so much help, but a lot of times we're not willing to invest in ourselves. We're not willing to get the help that we need. Can you speak to that really quickly?
Yeah, I think that's just another piece of conditioning where women, particularly, are conditioned to put everyone else first. But I think it also extends to men. Like we are, as a culture, we're not, and I'm going to use the word conditioned because it's not that we're not taught, it's that we're conditioned from a very young age, that taking care of ourselves is selfish. You know, and I want to flip the script on that because when we take care of ourselves, our cup is so full that it overflows naturally.
Yeah.
There's so much to share with other people. And
Yes.
when we give to everyone else first, our cup is empty and we become resentful, empty. We have health problems. But, I get pissy. If I'm taking care of everyone else first before me, I'm pissy. I don't feel good. I'm cranky. I'm
It's
like,
like, oh no, no, this can't be.
yeah, and I think too, self-care, there's this idea that a lot of women who work with me, they have this idea that self-care means, going to the spa and, they have this grandiose version of what self-care is. And I'm like, honey, I'm speaking like JVN here. Honey, sorry. Self-care is
Okay.
putting yourself to bed when you're tired.
Yes,
Self-care
that's what
is
I was going to say. Resting when you need it.
Yeah, it's brushing your teeth when you wake up in the morning. It's, setting boundaries and saying no when you actually mean no, and saying yes if you actually mean yes,
You want to.
if you want to. Not because you have to, not because you're obligated, not because you're committed, but because you want to. You genuinely have a desire to. So I really want to impress upon anyone really that self-care is not this big thing that takes like hours and hours every day, or you have to like go on a big vacation to do. It's something you build into your daily life. It's like a setting new habits, you know.
I agree. And it's yeah, because it's almost like self-care is the new buzzword and everybody's talking
Yeah.
about it, but it's they're taking it so they're making it
Yeah,
ridiculous,
they're
because
making it ridiculous. Yes. Yeah, I have a client, oh my gosh, I was just like, oh my God, I'm exhausted just talking to you, because she had this like list of everything she had to accomplish every day
in
to
self-care,
have self-care, like to be good at self-care. And I was like, oh my God, like if I had to do that every day, I'd never get anything done.
I'm not going to do it.
No, no.
Because
So,
I can't, I'm not designed that way. I just can't, I don't do it. I mean, I have things that I do, like when I get up in the morning and things like that, before I have to go to my job, I have to meditate for show. And that's non-negotiable for me, because if I don't, I'm not a good person.
right, right.
So, I have to deal with people. So I have to, meditate and get myself together and center and stuff like that before I go there. That's non-negotiable. Now, on the days when I don't have to go to work, like today, I get up and I meditate. Well, actually, I meditate usually before I get out of bed,
Hmm.
because I had back issues and things like that. So I can't always do the sitting up and crossing the legs and all that crap. I just lay down in the bed and I meditate before I even get out,
Yes. Do
and
what
I
you
just,
can with what you have where you're at. Hmm.
yes. And because I was listening to somebody one time and they were telling me that somebody told them that in order to meditate, because that's my thing, I'm like really helping people to meditate. and teaching them that meditation is not what people say it is. Meditation is just connecting. You can do it washing dishes, you can do it while you're sitting folding clothes, anything that's mundane you can do. And so I love to share that with people, because they're like, oh, I can't meditate. I'm like, no, everybody can meditate. Anybody. I thought about Dr. What is his name? Joe Dispenza. When he was talking about how he healed his body after he had the car accident, whatever. And I was like, so if he can do it like that, then you don't got to sit down and put your damn feet on the floor or nothing like that in order to connect. And I started really realizing that and learning, and then also seeing, that there's a big picture in all of this. We just need to connect.
Yes.
And then after that, we got to surrender and allow.
That's not so easy. But, like I said, when I was talking earlier about, that I had the battering ram, because I had a vision of what my life was going to look like. And, really there is a bigger vision, and we just have to get out of the way. And, meditating, like you said, it can be done. Anybody can meditate, and it doesn't have to look a certain way. It's not like you have to have your spine straight, like. No. I mean, it could be as simple as taking a walk and meditating on your breath, or
yes,
just being present. Really, it's all about just being present.
Yes, and that's one of the things. And I don't know, I had somebody laugh, and I said that was my mission this past year. Last year was just to be present, because I know that I could not, because I have ADD tendencies. I just can be all kind of places and stuff, and I know this, and so I really focus on really being present. So if I'm in a meeting, being present, because I would be doing 2 or 3 other things while I'm in meetings and things, and I said, no, I'm going to focus on being present. And I read, of course, The Power of the Now, and so many other books kind of like that. And so I was like, okay, I got this.
Yeah, you do. You do. There's the book by Michael Singer, The Surrender Experiment.
I gotta check that one out.
He talks about, just being present. And when I think about being present, I think that, just even listening to you talk about that, I was tuning in on an energetic field about, how many people would have such a great difficulty with that, because we are conditioned to multitask, which isn't even possible, really, because
and it don't even make sense to do.
No, but it's that, to me, is another thing of patriarchy, is like, the more you can be distracted, the less you're present to yourself, and I'm going to say something that's probably really controversial, but it's easier to control you. It's easier to get you to think a certain way and to do certain things, betray yourself, work at a job you hate, if you're not present.
That's exactly right. And you're right. It may be controversial, but it's true.
It is true.
And that's the thing. It's like, because it creates that herd mentality.
It does, yes.
And I don't know about you, but I had determined a few years ago, I was like, I got to get out the matrix. I just can't do it. Because I hear things, and it's like, no, I can't do it.
Yeah, I can't really relate to that anymore. And, people are like, well, what do you mean? You live in the world. And I'm like, I live in it, but I'm not of it. And neither are you. You just have to come present to realize that. And when you become present, you realize that we're tolerating things that are intolerable.
Yes.
We are, and I'm speaking from, a spiritual healer, spiritual teacher, wisdom teacher, alchemy person. We are so much bigger than we even fathom.
Yes.
We are not these little, robotic human beings subjected to certain ways of living. I mean, when we become present, we become sovereign, and we become less and less willing to tolerate. It's not tolerable.
We just can't do it.
I can't. And I other people who choose to step out of that, it becomes, it's literally like a different life.
You know what it is? You begin to start understanding your assignment.
Yes. On purpose. Yeah, I love that, because when so many people are like, oh my God, I want to know what I'm here for. And I'm like, back to the very beginning, you got to do the work and you have to be willing to be present.
Yes.
And when you do, it's like your assignment, like what you call it, your assignment becomes apparent.
Yes.
Very, very
It's
quickly.
wild how it grows, so big beyond you, even though you might have already known that it was a huge thing, just like you said. Mm-hmm. And then it just grows so big beyond you. And you're like, wait, wait a minute.
Yes. Well, so I'm curious. I know you're interviewing me, but I have to ask you, do you know what your assignment is? Like, I feel like we're on the insider scoop here.
Yeah. I am a connector for one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
I am. And I realized that just recently, like in the last year or so. I was like, oh. And so I realized that, I help people connect to their stories. And so I'm helping people, and I just pivoted just now recently, like helping people to share their stories and write books, because I realized that I love to do it. So I'm a 3 times published author, and my first one was an anthology. So I'm now filling my own anthology, Passing the Pearls. It's stories about our grandmothers. Because I feel like we need something beautiful in the world to read, because people, I don't know about you, but every time I open up Google, good God Almighty, somebody done shot somebody, somebody's killed, somebody done mistake the taser for the gun for the taser for the gun, whatever, just craziness. So I feel like we need beautiful things out into the world. And so I have committed to bringing that forward. So like I'm doing multi-author books, and then I'll also help people to write their stories as well, because people have been sharing stories with me for 30 years.
So beautiful.
And so now I'm like, because I was doing energy healing, and I still do that. And in these containers, I want to also help people with that too, because as you write, you heal. And so that's where I'm going.
Yeah, that's
Thank
beautiful.
you for asking.
Yeah, I love that you know your assignment, and you just had to get out of your way and you say yes.
I did, because I'm telling you, I've been like back and forth battling with it for a couple of years, because, I was like, how am I going to do this pivot? Because people know me as, doing energy and doing cards and all this stuff. And I was like, but I don't want to do that. I mean, I don't mind doing cards and stuff, and I still do them here and there, but not often. But I'm like, I don't want to do that because I'm not a fortune teller. I truly want people to help people to heal.
Yeah.
Because I know that is so needed. And in Western medicine, like you said, it can't be the only thing, because they just don't. Well, I mean, I'm going to say this, and it's controversial, but they really don't give a shit. All they want to talk about is the symptoms. I go in, same thing, my stomach hurting, all the kind of stuff. I go in, I wasn't asking for drugs or anything like that, because I don't, do them like that, because they don't usually help me. So I was like, I just need to know what it is and all that, because I've been dealing with this it was 2 weeks at that time. And so, I go in, get all the tests done, blood work, CT, everything. You know what they said? We can't find anything. There's nothing wrong. My blood pressure was high, and I don't have high blood pressure. Right. So the girl asked me, she said, your blood pressure is 167 over 100. I said, it's because I'm in pain. I'm hurting.
Kind of having a little bit of stress right now.
Right, just a little bit, I'm and so they're like, oh, nothing. They send me out that place with nothing.
Yeah. So
of course I went and did like you. I went to the Chinese medicine and got the acupuncture, and and I have an acupuncturist that I go to regularly anyway. So I went and did that, and just started doing my own research. Found some stuff for the leaky gut, and I got that, and got some mastic gum, and got some other stuff, and I started just working on myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow,
it's amazing.
Right?
Amazing. I will say, one of the things that when in the pelvic work that I do, the gut is always connected to pelvic pain.
Yes.
Always. Yes. So when women come in and they're like, well, I have digestive problems too, but I want to deal with that separately. And I'm like, well, it's not, sorry, I'm a little gnat here. It's not a separate issue. No. And that's, Western medicine looks at, we're going to treat your head, or you're going to treat your arm, or we're going to treat your leg, or, and from a holistic perspective, you can't separate the parts. They all work together.
Exactly. That's true. Okay. So thank you so much. This has been amazing. I have loved it, and we will definitely connect again because we have so much to talk about.
We do.
And we probably need to collaborate on something as well. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Because it's been amazing. Thank you. I appreciate you for joining me. All of you that are watching or listening, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And make sure that you're sharing this out so that other people can get a chance to watch it or listen as well. So again, thank you for joining me, Grace Willow. This has been so amazing. We for sure are going to do something else. So just be watching us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tammi.
Bye now.
I know you've been blown away with the amazing value here today. Now go out and inspire the planet. And be sure to send us a message when you're ready to come talk about it on Straight Outta Savannah, Talking with Tammi.